Let's talk tariffs, shall we? Hi, I'm Jeff Newton, former 60 Minutes producer, former senior producer at National Geographic Television and Vice on HBO. Man, what a morning. We all want to take a big victory lap, don't we? But with this stunt, which is basically what we can call this tariff policy, it was a stunt. Never was sound economic policy. It was sort of a pipe dream. It taxed Americans without representation in total violation of the U.S. Constitution, adding additional taxes to already cash-strapped Americans. Executive Order 14257 wasn't well thought out. There's a reason he decreed this policy by executive order, because he had to know that this was never going to fly legally. Congress, and only Congress, has the right to set tax law. We can't overstate this blunder by Trump. This was maybe the biggest financial mistake by any U.S. president in our lifetime. Not only does this big, beautiful bill add between 3.4 and 4 trillion to the deficit, even before this monumentally ignorant decision on tariffs, but now we know of at least 175 billion that will need to be paid back to those who footed this tariff bill for this illegal and stupid action. As I write this, instead of joy for seeing this moron get his comeuppance, instead, all I feel is anger. Here's some reasons why. Aside from the financial issues this ridiculous decision has caused us all, this tariff debacle will have generational negative impact on our country financially, and it has caused irreparable damage to our reputation as a trusted global superpower. Our trusted allies no longer want to do business with us. Canada, Europe, Asia, Mexico, they no longer want to do business with us and have begun the irreversible course of sidestepping our market for other friendlier markets abroad. And that's going to hurt every American long after this imbecile of a man is long gone from this earth. He sits in the White House today angry and thinking of revenge, when in fact it's us, all of us, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, who will shoulder the brunt of this mob boss leading, bullying, rash, uneducated decisions that he's made. Markets that were once ours to keep, Canada for instance, are now moving away from the U.S. Their tourists vanishing with glee. Their manufacturing working towards safer trading partners. Who would have thought that in our lifetime, China would be seen as a safer bet for Canada's trade than its allies to the south of the United States? It's astounding. Some more examples. In 2025, in response to Trump's tariffs, China dropped American soybean for Argentinian soybean. Since then, Argentina has purchased 8 million metric tons from Argentina, a 92% increase from the previous years, all because of Trump's tariffs. Then, as if that financial decision wasn't enough to cripple U.S. soybean farmers, Trump offered up a $40 billion financial aid package to Argentina. Does any of this surprise you? Anyone? This is the man whose family name is much more well known for filing bankruptcy than success. Just between 1991 and 2009, here are a few of his bankruptcy. The Trump Taj Mahal in 1991, Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in 1992, Trump Castle Hotel and Casino in 1992, Trump Hotels and Casino Resorts in 2004, and Trump Entertainment Resorts in 2009. That's just the casinos. Who the fuck bankrupts casinos? Also, Trump Mortgage, Trump University, a fraud case that he had to settle on because they found he was guilty of fraud. His charity was shut down by the state of New York for fraud, never permitted to open ever again, ever. He was stealing from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, a charity that allegedly gave funds to both hospitals and a cancer research center. Investigations into the foundation found instead that its funds were being used for the following: buying portraits of Trump. Sound familiar? Purchasing sports memorabilia. Sounds very charitable to me. Paying legal settlements for Trump's private companies, funds to benefit his properties, like restoring a fountain outside the Trump Plaza Hotel, supporting the 2016 presidential campaign, such as giving oversized checks to veterans groups at campaign events, and, this one won't surprise you, making a $25,000 donation to Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi's political group. Here's some more Trump-named companies that went tits up. Trump Vodka, Trump Steaks, GoTrump.com, Trump Magazine, to name but a few. And there will be more to come, for sure. His cryptocurrency business, World Liberty Financial, aims to set crypto as the new world digital currency. It's called USD1, to replace the US dollar. Yes, you've heard that right. His son said as much at a cryptocurrency conference at Mar-a-Lago recently. So, as if tying U.S. economic growth to tariffs wasn't foolery enough, now his family wants to tank the U.S. dollar. I mean, he's the president of the United States. He wants to prop up the U.S. dollar, and now his cryptocurrency company aims to make it obsolete. Make this fucking make sense. Your 401ks will love the event when he tries to do that shit by executive order. And that's just stuff he's up to privately. Whenever he's working on behalf of the American people, big quotes around that, he costs us money. His little one-day snatch and grab of President Maduro and his wife in Venezuela cost U.S. taxpayers $3 billion, according to Bloomberg. That's one expensive arrest, isn't it? He's getting rid of Obamacare enhanced premium tax credits, which cost the government $30 billion a year, and instead spending on immigration enforcement, the result of which means many Americans saw their health premiums more than double. And there is no plan to fix the healthcare crisis Trump's budget created. But he sure did find money for immigration. Trump's Department of Homeland Security received approximately $170 billion in funding with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. We know that as ICE, right? Allocated over $100 billion through 2029, including $45 billion for detention facilities, $46.5 billion for border wall construction. Remember that one? Mexicans were going to build that one. Didn't happen, did it? $46 billion for it. In contrast, the Biden administration's fiscal 2023 budget proposed $8.1 billion for ICE, a slight downcrease from previous years, and maintained DHS funding at around $64 billion, with a contingency fund of $4.7 billion for CPB and ICE, Customs and Border Protection. Customs and Border Patrol, excuse me. What are we getting for all that chest puffing from the White House? Less undocumented immigrants deported, we know that. Way more money being spent in federal courts as DOJ defends its unlawful deportations and immigration violations. Additionally, Trump is spending tens of billions of taxpayer dollars to house undocumented immigrants. I thought we were trying to deport these people. Currently, the U.S. government is on a buying spree of warehouses. One example, the U.S. government recently purchased a 235-acre warehouse facility in Social Circle, Georgia, a cost of a whopping $128 million. It's intended as an ICE detention facility. The property was bought by an LLC 3 years ago for $29 million before being sold to the federal government for $128 million. Kristi Noem, who the fuck is making your real estate deals? And there are a ton more lopsided purchases like this, raising serious questions about money laundering, corrupt business transactions among Trump and his friends. But that's for another day, misfits. It's a bigger story. Bottom line, Trump thinks his deals are great, but in the same breath, Canada builds a bridge for nearly $5 billion using its own money, joining our two countries together, and says it will give Michigan half the revenue from the tolls as soon as it recoups its investment. Free money. And Donald Trump says that's a bad deal. I think any of it makes sense. So he won't allow the bridge that's already completed after years of construction to open. Get my pulse back down. The truth hurts, really. Donald Trump simply isn't safeguarding American interests. When a good deal is in front of him, he tanks it. When a bad deal is sitting in front of him, he jumps at it. Either way, Americans pay the price. On this tariff decision, he will blame everyone. The Democrats who don't hold power, the judges who gave him normally a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. Today they ruled 6-3 against him. But it's never him, ever. It's not him because he didn't take this through his legal process properly and vet this before he made this stupid decision by executive order, or discuss it with members of Congress to see how bad an idea this was. It's never him. That's what narcissists do. They never backpedal. They never apologize. They never say they're sorry. And in Trump's case, they press forward after making these stupid errors with even more costly mistakes. Despite this decision today by the Supreme Court, this situation will only get worse because he will somehow need to find the revenue to fix the problem he created. Remember, it's at least $175 billion. And you could take it to the bank that this tax shortfall will not be made up on the backs of his billionaire friends and donors. Nope, we will. All of it. As Americans face a devalued dollar, more expensive groceries, ever-rising energy costs, less renewable energy to help us reduce our burden because of his love for coal and oil, or should we say the people who mine and drill for it, he's a disaster. One last point. Today's ruling was a victory of sorts, but it wasn't unanimous. Justice Alito, Kavanaugh, Thomas, they ruled in dissent in favor of Trump. They wrote the dissenting opinion. This is really telling. This was such a clear home run. No reason to believe tariffs weren't a tax. Yet 3 conservative justices sided with Trump. Going forward, we can assume none of these men will rule in favor of any progressive causes. They have really showed their hand today, all 3, putting this kindly. They're deeply flawed characters. Kavanaugh and his sexual assault allegations, boy, did he sneak by with that. Thomas with his constant taking of millions of dollars in bribes from friends of the court. Alito for his nastiness and ability to lie and justify his rulings when he does. Roe v. Wade comes to mind. He was all supportive of that precedent until he had a chance to shoot it down, which he did happily. We should be weary of these men. They will continue to do great harm to America whenever they can. And though the other conservatives on the court don't make me happy, they don't appear to be as corrupt. So they're simply ideologues. Kavanaugh, Thomas, Alito, dangerous. As for Trump, he blamed the justices on the court, 3 of them conservative judges. If he can't get their support, what will he do next? He's shown his propensity to not follow lower court rulings on immigration. His Justice Department, ICE, and Homeland Security has ignored hundreds of court orders to illegally carry out his whims. Will the Supreme Court be next? Stay focused on the Epstein files and midterm elections. That's what matters between now and November. Thanks, Misfits. Please like, follow, and share and comment, and help me feed my 2 dogs with a paid subscription on Substack. Have a good Friday night. Go Team Canada.